Hello everyone. Today we will see AWS CLI. So let's go with AWS CLI, what it is. Right. So if you open this first link of AWS, okay, this is nothing but a command line interface, okay, which will help you to talk to the AWS cloud environments. Like you can talk and you can manage your AWS services as well, right? Now let's understand what is this different ways to interact with AWS. Let's see that this is your cloud environment, okay, and this we call it as AWS Cloud, right? And there are three ways to interact with AWS. If let's see you are a user, so this user which will be setting out here, okay, and this we call it as a user. Okay, now this user interact with AWS, okay, by three ways. This is the first way. Then we have another way to interact with AWS, and we have one more way which we can also interact with AWS Cloud. Now the first way is we call it as AWS Management Console, okay. Second way we call is AWS CLI, that is command line interface, and the third way we can use to interact with AWS is called as AWS SDK, that is a software development kit. Okay, now this all will be called as, okay, API calls. So this is nothing but our API calls which is getting made to AWS cloud environments, right? So like if you start EC2 instance, okay, inside here if you have, okay, EC2 instance machine is running, okay, so this is nothing but an AWS API calls, right? So in this way we can do, okay, of management of AWS cloud. Now the first is AWS Management Console, that is known to us. Like this is what a console access is. We can quickly go and we can click on a launch instance and we can launch our machine. Second is AWS CLI. Now for AWS Management Consoles we need to put a username and password. Username and the password. Okay, fine. Okay, now in case of AWS CLI we need to have two keys, okay, one is access key and secret key. Even for a SDK also we should have both access and secret key, right? Okay, now username and passwords we can quickly enter and we can log in, okay, as an admin. But how to generate this? Let's see, access key and secret key. Okay. Fine. So let's go to the AWS environments. Inside AWS we can go to the IAM. Okay, now best practice is that always use IAM users for your day-to-day activities instead of your root user, right? So for that we'll create another user, okay, which will be having a CLI access. So let's create one user called as demo. We want a CLI user only, but just to create it, so we'll have the access to the management console as well. I'll say the password something called as demo, okay, whatever it is, right? And then I should not, okay, sign in, okay, or change the password at the first sign. Then I can attach policies, but meanwhile I'll just create a user just to see the user insights, right? So these are what credentials we. Okay, fine. So we have created a user called as demo. So let's click on a demo user. Okay, now for the CLI access, we will be creating access keys and secret keys. So for creating an access keys and secrets key, we have to go to the security credentials tab, and inside you can see the sections called as access keys, where you can click on a create access key. So let me click on a create access key, and I can click on a command line interface. Okay, and then I'll say confirm, and I understand, and I'll go to the next. So let's see any descriptions to this is my keys, fine, and I'll say create access keys and secret. Okay, now this access keys and secret key is visible on a console, which is access key, and secret keys is not visible completely, fine. Okay, now but where to pass these keys? For that we have to install AWS CLI for a particular client, AWS CLI. So this is what a first link you can go with for installing and updating your to the latest version of AWS CLI. And based on your client, if you are wanted to configure your environments for a Linux, so you have to install AWS CLI package. Okay, and then if it is for, let's see, any other environments, let me show you Mac OS. So we have this particular, let's see, sections like command line install for all AWS users, or maybe for a current user. So this is what a command you can use to download the package, and you can run that installer right inside Mac OS. Then we have Windows also. So for that we have an MSI installer through a command line interface like command prompt, and we can install this CLI. So once you have installed it for a particular let's say operating systems, so you have to go to the let me go to the terminal. So this is what a terminal is. Let me resize the terminal. So inside a terminal you can see so you have to hit the command called as AWS version. So once it is installed, so you can see the CLI version of AWS, right? Okay, now once you install the AWS CLI version, so you have one folder which is getting created inside aws.aws, and inside that you can see the two files, which is config and credentials files. So here once you configure credentials while passing it, so it will be stored inside. So you can say cat credentials. So as such we don't have anything inside this particular file. Okay, now to configure AWS CLI environments, we have to use a command called as AWS configure, right? So let me connect my internet connection. Okay, now AWS configure, and I am supposed to hit enter. Okay, now it is asking for an access key ID. So we have created an access key ID for user called as demo. So I'll copy this access key ID and I'll go to the terminal. So I'll hit the access key ID. Then it is asking me for the secret key ID. So again copy it. Okay, now these keys you can download inside a CSV file also, and you can store some panels for a later access also. Let's hit enter. Okay, now this is your secret key ID. Then default region. So I would like to go with AP South 1 region, which is Mumbai, and the output format. So how I would like to get the output on the screens. If I hit certain commands to get the details, right? So I can get then outputs inside a JSON format, text format, or a table format also. I'll go with the JSON. Fine. Okay, and that's it. Now if you want to check like which user you have been configured, so if you talk to the, let's say, this terminal of my machine, which is a Mac OS, okay, we have a command called as who am I. So it will tell you the username. The similar way, there is a command for AWS identity who have been configured with. So let's check AWS security token service get caller identity, and you can see this demo user has been configured. So if you could see inside your AWS folder, okay, so here is our AWS folder, and we can go to the cat credentials, and here you can see this there is a default profile which has been created and which is having this particular, let's see, access keys and secret key. Okay, so fine. Okay, now we will hit certain commands. Okay, so the command is to get started with AWS is called as AWS, then the service name. Let's see, I would like to get some my bucket details, so AWS S3, and there is a command called as ls. So first is AWS keyword and then the service name and then actually your parameters, right? So AWS S3 ls. So I'll just hit the enter. Okay, but unfortunately it is saying access denied. So obviously for this user which we configured, we haven't provided any permissions. So let me go to users, and inside of users we have a demo, and we don't have any permissions which is attached. That's what we are not able to get any details. So I'll just make this user as an administrator so that all the commands which I'll be able to access will get some response. Okay, now coming back and just check with AWS S3 ls. Okay, so let's see. Yes, now we have got 2 buckets which is already created. So one is I have created something called as our static websites, and there is one bucket which is by default created by Elastic Beanstalk, right? So now if I want to check like what kind of users, so AWS configure let's say region, so get region. So let's see, yes, this we have configured for a AP South one. So I just wanted to list out my EC2 instances inside this bucket, sorry, inside this account. So AWS EC2, there is a command called as, if you want certain help, so you can say AWS EC2 help, and then you will find, okay, all the sub available commands which you may take a help of also, right? So these are all commands which can start from A or something, attach, volume, and something else. So fine. So this is what a help section also we have it. So AWS EC2 describe, okay, and there is a command called as describe instances, right? So let me hit the command. As we have an access to an administrator, so we should be able to get all the outputs. Yes, now the output which is coming, which is nothing but an instances, and if you could scroll down, you will find all the details in terms of JSON, right? So there is a one machine which is called as Ubuntu which is running. So I'll just go to the EC2 and let's show you that these instances which are in a running state. Okay, so these are the instances which are in a running state. Now I want to create a one user, okay, from CLI only. So there is one user I would like to create. So let's go to the CLI and let's hit the command. So if I wanted to list it out, I am user, so I am list users. Okay, so I'll get 2 users. One is demo which we have created and one is already created as a test. So let's create AWS IAM create user, okay, and the username is something, I'll say demo1. Let's see. Yes, now the demo1 is created. So let's go to the IAM section, and can you see, yes, there is a one user which is already created. Even we can attach a policy also from the CLI also. So a lot many things we can do with the help of CLI. So this is what our IAM activity. Now let's create a bucket. So we'll see S3 ls, which is for listing out the buckets, Now I'll create a bucket inside a Mumbai region. So I'll say AWS S3 service, and MB is from make bucket, and then S3 and the name of the bucket. So I wanted to create some unique name to this. Okay, give to this bucket. So let's see my unique. Okay, so we have checked the bucket which is created. Now let's go to the bucket section. Inside a bucket, we'll see S3 option. Okay, and here you can see, yes, there is one unique global bucket has been created. Okay, so this is what the CLI environment is, through which we can talk to the AWS and we can manage and create this particular, let's see, resources as well, right? Now the profile that we have talked, like we can go to the cd.aws, and if you go to credentials or config folders, let's say config, and here you can see the region which we can also change it. So let me go to the config file, and I wanted to change some describe instances inside another region. So I'll go with AP South 2, that is Hyderabad region. So I'll go with the nano config, and I'll make a change in the region. From here also, or maybe from CLI also, I can make a change. So AP South 2 and say Control O and write. Okay, even I'll change table format. Okay, output, and I'll save it. Okay, now let's check. Fine, and let's check the credentials. Yes, so there is already a default profile which is there. So let's see cd. Fine, now let's check AWS configure get region. Yes, now you are getting AP South 2. Now let's hit the command called as AWS EC2 describe instances, and let's see in Hyderabad, do we have any instances? Yes, now this is what a table format that we are getting an output. Okay, so we can see the output is in a table format, and there is one let's see instance, okay, which is running. So you can see that AP South 2 web server is the key name. Let's scroll down below for more details and see the table format, where you can see all the details very clearly, with including a public IP as well. And let's scroll down for all the informations, including security groups and all. And this is what value we call it as user data script. So let's see, I'll say Q. I'll show you, okay, whether in Hyderabad regions do we have any user data scripts kind of. Yes, now we have a one instance which is already in the running state, you can see. And let's go to the terminal. So let me close it. Okay, so this is what a table format we can have the details. Let's go with the AWS IAM list users, and this also you are getting in a table formats. Can you see, like this one, the user demo 1 and the test user. Okay, so that's it for our AWS CLI, okay, which we have configured. Fine, so we can do more operations as like the way we do with the console. Also we can launch instances also, okay, with the help of specifying the particular parameters, okay, like instance launch is to run instance. Okay, then we can create a key pairs, we can create a VPC also. We can do as the way we do it with the help of a console, okay, access, and the same way we can do with the CLI also, and that's very preferable also sometimes as a part of automations. Okay, thank you for watching.